You know, state regime media known as Fox is in a total collapse when it goes and attacks Ronald Reagan as being really bad on trade because a Reagan-appointed judge ruled against Donald Trump on a 3-judge panel joined by a Trump-appointed judge and a Biden-appointed judge. All 3 judges said that Donald Trump's tariff policy was patently unlawful. You know, that ruling is now stayed by a federal court of appeals. But the way Fox was spending the whole day attacking that was they would bring on Howard Lutnick, and they spent the day with their guests attacking Reagan. Reagan bad on trade. Reagan not good. Watch this. Play this clip.
Was he surprised about this 3-judge panel because it was a Reagan judge, it was a Trump judge, and then it was an Obama judge, and it was a unanimous ruling on this court? Is he surprised by that?
Well, I think, he was not happy with the panel because what you call the Trump judge is just one of these blue slip judges, meaning it was a Democrat judge. It was their seat, and he just approved their seat, which is the deal for those kind of things. And while we would love Ronald Reagan, on trade, he just was not a strong trade guy. So, I think the president saw the panel as weak. He's been through this kind of stuff before. I think he's confident on appeal. He's confident at the Supreme Court. And I think he knows he's going to win because he's got to protect the American people.
They go after Ronald Reagan. It's wild. But it wasn't just unique to Howard Lutnick, the ShamWow salesman right there. For those who know ShamWow, you know what I'm talking about right there. Peter Navarro was on Fox, and Peter Navarro talked about the rogue judges, the rogue Reagan judge, the rogue Trump judge. And the host was like, the rogue Reagan. Yeah, Reagan wasn't good on trade. Reagan was bad on. He was a free trader. Here, play this clip.
And with respect to the legal arguments themselves, these are rogue judges that are basically operating.
One was appointed by Donald Trump. That's a rogue judge.
There was one appointed by Donald Trump, who was a career bureaucrat over at USTR. But more importantly, the person who wrote the decision, Rastani, was appointed by Reagan, free trader. She's the one who took the lead trying to stop the Section 232 tariffs and got overruled in the appeals court. So there's a lot of stuff going on.
Watching these Republicans go full MAGA and contort themselves into whatever the heck Donald Trump is doing, which is fascism melded with central planning combined with kakistocracy, idiocracy, is just a sight to behold. Bring on the scam artists, bring on the con artists, bring on Mr. ShamWow, Howard Lutnick, Donald Trump's Commerce Secretary. And here Howard Lutnick says, it's all good. We're bringing in $10 trillion to build factories. 10 trillion. They just make up numbers. Trillion, 10 trillion. And then they do the thing with their hands to make it seem like extra persuasive. 10 trillion, everybody. Here, play this clip.
I think he knows he's going to win because he's got to protect the American people. He's got to protect the American workers. He's got $10 trillion coming to build factories in America, and he's going to stand for the American people. And he's got lots of other authorities, but I think this one's going to work and it's going to hold. You just have to get real judges.
10 trillion. What the hell are you talking about? And then Howard Lutnick continues down this line of being a con artist and a scammer. And he goes, there's 10 trillion in factories being built. And he goes, probably we're growing the economy 50% faster than otherwise. So 10 trillion, the economy's growing by 50%. None of this is true. They're just literally making up fake numbers that are large numbers. Here, play this clip.
The economic growth that Donald Trump is driving here, right? He's got $10 trillion worth of factories being built. That's huge economic growth. It'll probably grow the economy 50% faster than would have otherwise grown. And then you've got the ability for us to export. Right? We're growing our ability to export. Each and every one of these countries allows us to have market access. You know what that means? That means our farmers, our ranchers, our fishermen, our manufacturing can finally sell overseas. Our car manufacturers, everybody can finally sell fairly overseas. You could see the U.S. economy double its growth rate under Donald Trump because of these policies. So I think that's what you've got to look at. Yes.
The economy is contracting. The first quarter GDP was negative. Jobless claims for the past month exceeded expectations. What was it? 241,000 jobless claims. We're seeing earnings down amongst companies. You could say all these big numbers you want. What did Donald Trump say? I brought back $5 trillion from the Middle East. How'd you bring back $5 trillion? The entire GDP of Qatar is 200 billion. The entire GDP of the UAE is 400 billion. So you're bringing back 20x, 50x what their GDP is, and 20% of the entire American GDP. They're just lying. They're just making up numbers. And now they have to go and attack their former hero was Reagan. And now they don't. Reagan was bad on free trade. Then bring in Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. I don't even know what the hell this is that I'm about to show you, but Treasury Secretary Bessent is asked, so how are the trade talks going with China? Because didn't you previously reduce the tariffs from 145% to 30%? And wasn't Xi Jinping and Trump supposed to? How are they going? And here you have Bessent go, they stalled. They're stalled. Here, play this clip.
And what about China, specifically China? And that obviously started in a different place. How can you characterize those talks now?
I would say that they are a bit stalled. I believe that we will be having more talks with them in the next few weeks. And I believe we may at some point have a call between the president and party chair Xi.
So stalled. There was a time when the president thought that it was moving forward pretty significantly.
Again, I think that given the magnitude of the talks, given the complexity, that this is going to require both leaders to weigh in with each other. They have a very good relationship, and I am confident that the Chinese will come to the table when President Trump makes his preferences known.
Everything out of their mouth is either a lie or utterly pathetic. I just want you to think, what do you think they're thinking in Beijing when they watch what I just showed you? What do you think they're thinking in the European Union when they're watching what I just showed you? I could do in Canada, in Australia. Pathetic, weak liars about everything. Here, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, then he goes, we need to make the United States look more like Florida. We should be more like Florida and less like New York. Here, play this clip.
We're going to deliver a better product to the American people. Because Brett, I lived in New York. I lived in Florida, and state of New York spends about $235 billion a year. State of New York spends about $235 billion a year. State of Florida spends about $125 billion. Both states have approximately the same number of people, but Florida doesn't have an income tax. And I can tell you, having lived in both, it's better not to have an income tax, and Florida gives better services. So we want the U.S. to be more like Florida, less like New York.
And it's always just, interesting to me when I see them attacking these blue states. One of the states they attack very frequently is California, right? Which has the fourth largest GDP in the world. If California was a country, it would have the fourth largest GDP in the world. Yet they attack California relentlessly. They attack New York relentlessly. Let me just look at the homicide rate in New York is much lower than Florida. The life expectancy in New York is significantly higher than Florida. The uninsured rate in New York is much lower than Florida. But go on and tell me. And by the way, all of this stuff about, people were leaving to go to Florida, BS. It's going in the reverse direction right now when people are seeing that DeSantis ran that state into the ground. All right, bring in MAGA Mike Johnson for some lying. Don't worry, I'll fact check him to his face right now. So MAGA Mike Johnson goes on Fox and he's trying to defend this disastrous budget that would add $4 to $5 trillion immediately to the deficit, that would take away Medicaid from tens of millions of people, cut Medicare for people, cut people's food stamps, their SNAP benefits, their rental assistance. It attacks women's reproductive rights. Harms infrastructure projects. It goes after climate. I can go on and on and on here. But here, MAGA Mike Johnson, the speaker, goes, no, everybody. The CBO, the Congressional Budget Office, which is giving you these estimates, they're a leftist Democrat organization. He goes, they're liars. They're funded by the Democrats. They're quite literally a nonpartisan group. Phil Swagel, the current CBO director, worked in George W. Bush Treasury Department, was chosen as the CBO director by Senate Republicans. Swagel officially chosen for CBO director by Senate Republicans. But go on, MAGA Mike. Lie to the people for Donald Trump. Play this clip.
Yes, I sent my good friend Elon a long text message last night explaining that it can be both big and beautiful, okay? So what I wanted to make sure that he understands is that the projection that he's referring to and others is from the CBO, the Congressional Budget Office. They are historically totally unreliable. It's run by Democrats. 84% of the number crunchers over there are donors to big Democrats. They don't have our best interest in mind, and they've always been off. By way of example, they were off on their projections of the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act in the first Trump administration by $1 trillion. The problem is they do not use what we call dynamic scoring. What that means in layman's terms is they don't give us any credit for the extraordinary economic growth that will be spurred along by this bill. This is a pro-growth package. It lower tax rates, less regulation. We'll do exactly what we did in the first Trump administration, but this time on steroids. And so we're going to have an extraordinary growth in the economy. You're going to have more jobs created, higher wages, more labor participation, and all those things need to be factored in because that's reality. And by the way, the CBO's giving no credence whatsoever, no calculation at all to the new revenues that are being produced by the Trump tariff policies and all these other things that are happening. So we believe we're going to get the economy going, and this is going to be deficit reducing at the end of the day.
And also, as Philip Bump explains, as it turns out, Mike Johnson is wrong. And when you look at CBO projections, they're generally fairly accurate. And if anything, they've understated, not overstated, the amount that is actually added to the deficit. If anything, they've understated it, but they usually are pretty on point. All right. More Fox people attacking Reagan. And you had to have Jessica Tarlov, the lone pro-democracy voice on Fox, explaining to her panel, guys, you realize that was a Reagan appointee and a Trump appointee who ruled against Trump. What are you talking about? These radical judges here. Play this clip.
He's doing this because he knows that I'm right about it.
You brought it up.
Because I'm
just
right.
responding
I brought up
to your erroneous assertions.
In just the last month, 96% of federal district court rulings went against the Trump administration because they are not following those
anywhere. All right, but we're still moving the bad hombres out of here.
They're Trump appointees. They're Bush appointees.
It's all appealable.
It will be appealed. Look, but they could win in the end, but they might lose in the end. So all I was saying is they got to have a backup plan.
Yeah, what's the backup plan?
Assuming that they do.
What for tariffs?
Find out.
We don't need one.
Okay, so you ever hit that mid-morning wall where your brain's foggy, your energy's dragging, and even your to-do list is giving you that side eye? Yeah, that was me until I found something that actually helps and isn't packed with junk. This podcast is sponsored by Peak Pure and Natural, and their product Peak Beats is a total game changer. It's a simple, natural way to support energy, circulation, and stamina. Peak Beats is made from organic fermented beets, which boosts their natural nitric oxide power. That helps your blood vessels relax and expand so more oxygen gets to your heart, brain, and muscles. We're talking better workouts, sharper focus, and real lasting energy. You just scoop, stir, and go. It tastes great, slightly sweet with a little tart kick, and it even includes a proprietary mango powder that helps with circulation to your eyes and ears. Bonus. I started using Peak Beats in the morning and immediately felt more energized, and the energy lasts all day. I could go from working to a workout and I don't crash by 3 p.m. anymore. And I feel like I'm doing something legit good for my heart and blood pressure. And I love that they offer that lifetime guarantee, so if it doesn't work out for you, it's super easy to get your money back. Any company that stands behind its products like that is one I feel good about recommending to you all. Right now, you can try Peak Beats for 25% off the regular price with no risk because you're covered by that lifetime money-back guarantee. Head to peaknatural.com/Meidas and use code Meidas, M-E-I-D-A-S, at checkout to give Peak Beats a try for 25% off. Plus, remember you're covered by their lifetime satisfaction guarantee. This is a limited time offer, so hurry over to peaknatural.com/Meidas, M-E-I-D-A-S, so they know I sent you, and make sure you use my promo code Meidas at checkout to get your 25% discount.
So then Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent has to go and attack the judges as well, who ruled that Donald Trump's tariffs were unlawful. Play this clip.
Thoughts on this on again, off again judicial tug of war over tariffs?
Well, Brett, it seems highly inappropriate for the judiciary to wade in here when the Senate had the opportunity to override the president and didn't. So, in terms of separation of powers, the Senate has chosen not to exercise their powers, and the president absolutely has the right to set the trade agenda for the U.S. This administration is committed to fair trade, and we are striking the best deals for the American people, and anything that the courts do to get in the way, both harms the American people in terms of trade and in terms of tariff revenue.
Now, as Elon Musk quits his role at DOGE, Jesse Waters has to praise this guy in the weirdest terms. And he's like, all the young men, they idolize Elon. They want to have Elon's trucks. They want big balls. That's what he says. That's what he says on Fox. He goes, they want to be with big balls. Play this clip.
You're saying how much you need men. Young men idolize Elon Musk. They want to be him. They want to be based. They want to ride around in his trucks, and they want to hang with big balls. And now every time you attack Elon Musk, you're attacking all of the young men that you need.
They want to be with big balls? What in the Kim Jong-un weirdo stuff are we want to be with the big balls? Guys, this is not normal. I want to always bring this back. What I'm showing you right now is dangerous, and it is not normal. Speaking of which, here's Sean Duffy, Donald Trump's transportation secretary, who got famous during being a reality show person on the Real World Road Rules Challenge. Here he is talking about how he's using our taxpayer dollars for some July 4th challenge, and he wants the transportation department to win Trump's challenge. So they're going to be doing a tour of America. I don't know what the hell. They think this is The Apprentice. It's a dystopian reality show that we're all non-consenting participants in. Here, play this clip.
Yeah, so listen, we're about to celebrate America's 250th birthday. There's going to be a year-long celebration starting this July 4th. The president has told all departments to come up with ways to celebrate this anniversary. So at DOT, by the way, we have the best idea of all departments. We're winning the challenge. We're going to do the Great American Road Trip.
And here he is, a deer with headlights right here, or deer in headlights right here. Sean Duffy basically saying, the Biden-Buttigieg administration, they ruined the transportation. I have to fix it. I have to fix it. Dude, these problems didn't exist under Biden and Buttigieg. Act like a leader for once and stop blaming them for all of your freaking problems, you idiots. Play this clip.
If I increase the pipeline of new people coming in and I can keep those controllers from retiring, that's going to make up the difference as we get more controllers into the system. But this has been a problem for a long time. The Buttigieg-Biden administration didn't do anything to fix it, right? All of these problems were well known. They did nothing to make it better, and so they left it to us. We're going to fix it. President Trump cares about the airspace, cares about the controllers, and we're going to work together with the Congress to make sure that we don't pass this problem off to the next administration.
Then you got to bring on Peter Navarro. At least this Fox host asked some somewhat good questions like, okay, Navarro, what's the threat that's being posed by Lululemon yoga pants and Wayfair furniture that you're sticking tariffs on them? What's the national is there a Lululemon national emergency that we should be aware about? Just watch how with ease this guy starts BSing. He has to find his footing and say, okay, got it. Let me go into con artist mode. Here, play this clip.
Could you explain the administration's justification quickly, if you could, and the legality of economic emergency invocation here on Bratz dolls and Wayfair furniture and Lululemon yoga pants, that's going to be a hard sell to a court that those are economic emergencies that deserve tariffs.
Okay, so let's take the fentanyl issue first.
I said Lululemon and Wayfair.
Oh, you want to do the reciprocal tariffs?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, well, look, they're specks in grains of sand in a sea of a $1.3 trillion trade deficit, and they are retail outlets that go to China and benefit from their 7 deadly sins of job destruction, whether it's the currency manipulation, the counterfeiting, the piracy, the subsidies, and everything on in between. And the emergency is $1.3 trillion a year going abroad, $18 trillion of American wealth so far transferred into foreign hands, and millions of jobs lost, hundreds of thousands of factories gone. That's the emergency. And the American people understand this. Okay. Main Street understands this. Wall Street is in denial about this, and this rogue court apparently doesn't think that having Main Street America dying from fentanyl and not having jobs is an emergency. We think it is, and it damn well is.
Speaking of con artist mode, then you have MAGA Mike Johnson crediting the magic algorithms of DOGE and said the magic algorithm of DOGE fixed everything. Play this clip.
And the beauty of what DOGE has been able to do, the reason it's so revolutionary is because Elon cracked the code. He had access. All the stars aligned. We had a president who was bold enough to do it. And we had somebody with Elon's talent and capability to come in and have his magic algorithms running through the data to find all these irregularities. And these are things that have been hidden from Congress. Right? We've been trying to do our oversight responsibility, but the bureaucracy was hiding these things. And so this changes the way government works. And Elon's exactly right. The DOGE effort will go on long beyond his tenure as a temporary assistant in all this, because it's changing the way people look at this. And the oversight's a really important component, and that's going to be a permanent part of government now. And it's an exciting thing.
Let's come with the receipts, as Carl Quintanilla points out. U.S. government spending since January 21st is up 8.7% over the equivalent period in 2024, up 7.2% over 2023. Musk not only accomplished nothing, but there's more federal spending right now. But here's what Elon Musk had to say. Did my best. Did my best. As Carl Quintanilla writes, it was a sheepish admission, despite Musk's unbridled glee at unleashing months of anxiety and chaos among federal workers. The legacy of his tenure in the White House falls far short of his lofty promises to reinvent the federal government. Did my best. Did my best. Oh my God, dripping with privilege while you've gutted and destroyed our federal government, have crushed the lives of millions of people, and millions of more people will suffer in the future as a result of the landmines that you've laid in our federal government. We're always going to call it out here on the MeidasTouch Network. Thanks for watching. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 5 million subscribers.
Can't get enough Meidas? Check out the Meidas Plus Substack for ad-free articles, reports, podcasts, daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, and more. Sign up for free now at MeidasPlus.com.